Would you recommend people to go through whole phases?
100% yes, absolutely.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What would you say?
Absolutely not.
Why do you say people should go through whole phases?
You said no?
No.
Okay, I think that if you don't know what car you like to drive, how are you going to go to a dealership and purchase one for a few years, you know?
I was talking about heaven and with a coworker, and he was asking if there was sex in heaven, and I said no. And sex is kind of a thing for procreation on Earth, and we don't have physical bodies in heaven. We're spiritual beings. And he was upset about that, and it was interesting because there are people who have salvation. They believe in Jesus, and they've become possessed by the Holy Spirit. And then there are people who, what's called fear the living God. The English Bible uses the term obey, but I've been researching a lot of the, there's a lot of pollen. I've been researching the original translations, and it says keep my teachings, which is a bit different, right? Because Jesus, in the end, when he was on earth, he said, pick up your cross and follow me. And that's different. That's a call to action. The church, with the idea of obey, in a way, we've become very sit until you're told what to do. And that was kind of true for a lot of Catholicism. And I know I harp on Catholicism a lot, but I don't have a disrespect for it. I have agitations. Part of what I'm here is to help with the realigning of certain minutiae. That way we can have a better yield of heavenly might and a better political force on earth. We stopped, for example, electing righteous people, and now we're seeing the consequences. But anyways, when you fear God, the same way you kind of fear your parents, like you love your parents, you get along with your parents, you know, this is of course assuming you have good parents, great parents, and we're going to play with that idea in mind. Once you start treating Jesus like your samurai leader, like your king leader, or your prince who's also a king because he's the son of God and also God, everything changes. Your ability to feel elated and happy becomes almost like a military might. Everyone wants to do what God says-ish, but ish doesn't command respect against the universe. Ish doesn't protect you. Ish isn't a wall. It's a straw wall. It's not a wall made of stone and sturdy materials with a military force besides it. I've told many people, I've only been depressed like 3 or 4 times in my entire life. I think I've had 1 nervous breakdown. No, maybe 2. 2 nervous breakdowns. 1 panic attack in my whole life. Because as a God-fearing man, my psychological structure and my spiritual narrative are stout and robust. And so when Christians kind of get uppity about pushing against things that don't seem biblically divine, this is kind of why. So it makes sense to have a quote-unquote whole phase if you're thinking like a human. But if you accept that there's a heavenly kind of cosmic order to things, that God designed certain rules in place. Like when you fear him, your life is better, it is reinforced. Like spending 15 to 30 minutes a day praying for yourself and your family. Like I get sick like once every other year. I've had great health, and I know my mom and dad pray for me every single day. Oh, I should call them before it gets too late. Earth is very smart and thinks along very smart lines. But heaven is smart and also correct, because heaven built the rules. But don't take my word for it. My objective here isn't to beat you up and bully you into believing in heaven culture the way I do. My objective here is to tell you to test it out, to pray, to bother God until he tells you what you want to know. If you're not bothering God for what you want in life, you're missing out on the supernatural integration, engagement, and influence that you ought to have. That is your birthright to have, actually. See, with heaven, everything's free. So it's the people who bother God, who go after it, and who really want it, that get the treats and treasures of heaven especially. Anyway, love you guys.